Everybody, how is everybody doing? I normally come on at like I normally come on at about 7:30, but I'm waiting for my daughter to get off work, and I don't know if she's gonna be out by 7:30. We've been waiting. I mean, well, I've been waiting for about 40 minutes now, and she said that the doctor is still seeing patients. My daughter works at a veterinarian hospital, so it's still 3 cars here. So I don't know what time. So I was like, let me go ahead and jump on my live and start that. Sorry guys, my lips are super chapped. I didn't put anything on my lips. So today I officially had my first day working from home, and it was absolutely amazing. But that is not what I'm talking about today. And I know a lot of people who know my story, because I have told my story so many times on how I contracted HIV, and how I felt like I was betrayed from by my daughter father, who then I ended up marrying. And so during that process, you know, it's hard to trust somebody after they betrayed you, right? It's really hard to regain that person's trust. And it has taken me a long time to, forgive them. It has taken me many, many years. Okay, there we go. I was like, why is the camera looking like that? I should have brought my thing, so I have to hold my phone. But yeah, so it takes a lot for somebody to forgive somebody after they betrayed them, right? Some people, they just cannot forgive the person that betrayed them. Um, and some people can. So for me, I was able to forgive him. I was able to, um, it took me a long time to actually regain his trust. Now, I know some people might be like, how can you forgive someone how can you forgive someone who intentionally, well, I don't know if it's intentionally, well, I guess I would say intentionally, but who gave you HIV without um, them telling you they had it? I'm doing well today. How are you? And so, like I said, it has taken me many, many years. Um, but that's what we're going to talk about today, because there are so many people who have been. It doesn't have to be in a, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend relationship. It can be by a friend, it could be by a coworker, it could be by somebody that you've had some type of relationship, friendship with, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today, on how you get over somebody betraying you. Some people will be like, you know what, I would never forgive such and such. I would never forgive this person. They did this, they did that to me. But you have to understand that God forgives us over and over and over again. And no, we are not God, but God wants us to be an example of Him, right? So He wants us to be an example of Him, and that's the way that we're supposed to live. And so, ooh, I'm getting a little warm in here. So, oh, sorry guys. Let me take this sweater off. I'm getting a little warm, but and so, like I said, it did take me a long time to forgive him. Just like, other people, has betrayed me in my past, and I've probably done that to somebody too. Betrayed their trust by telling somebody business. I remember, years ago, I used to be a gossiper. I used to gossip, but when I literally changed my life and I live for God, no, that's something. When somebody tell me something, it's going to the grave with me. And that was in my younger days when I used to do that. But we have to learn how to, we have to learn, and it's step by step. Amen. I have a class presentation at college, and there are any tips you can give me. I'm not sure what class are you taking, but so yeah, that's what I really wanted to talk about today, because it's not a lot of, you know, a lot of people don't really talk about betrayal. They really don't, and it really needs to be talked about. It really needs to be addressed, only because we want relationships to be right. I don't care if you don't ever talk to that person again who did do that to you, but you want to make it right. And now, depending on, you know, what it is, because some things can be, um, not in the best interest of both parties, right? So I'm not saying do something to the point where, it would cause some type of harm against, somebody. You know, I don't know. I really don't know. I've been seeing a lot of that on social media about Charlie Kirk. I really don't know. Um, it's just a sad situation. It really is a sad situation. A lot of people have their thoughts on him and how he talked about religion, and I just don't know. I don't think I would really voice my opinion on it, because it wouldn't make sense for me to voice my opinion on it, because to be honest, I really didn't know him up until, people were talking about it. But um yeah, we do have to continue to pray for his family, because regardless of what somebody does, just like I was saying, I was just talking about right here, about betrayal, right? And people can be people can definitely get harmed when that happens. But then we have to learn how to forgive the way that God forgives us. We just have to, we just really have to learn how to do it. Um, and we know that healing does not happen overnight. Healing will never happen overnight. It takes time for you to heal through anything that somebody has done to you that has harmed you in any way. I told you guys, it has taken me many years, many years, to forgive my husband. Um, and even though, we were still living together, um, even after I contracted the virus with him. Now, for a minute, I did not deal with him, but I believe it was my own self. Oh, that's outside. It was my own self-esteem that led me back to him, and that was at the beginning, right? And I don't think I was completely healed. I don't think that, mentally, physically, and emotionally, I really don't think that I truly um, accepted. I was just in a shell, and I was in shock for so long, for so many years, because I would always question myself, like, why me? Why me? Why me? I would always ask myself that. Now today, I don't ask myself, why me? I wish it never would have happened to me. Only because I'm helping so many people with my story. And you learn how to live with things, right? We all make mistakes. We learn how to live with things. And sometimes the consequences that you put yourself in, um, you have to face those consequences and live with it. And I'm okay. I'm definitely okay with it. Sorry that I'm moving my phone, but I don't have my stand with me. And so another thing, betrayal can definitely break you temporarily. It won't break you permanently, not unless you allow it to break you permanently. So, um, one thing we have to do is begin to seek God and ask Him how to get through the hurt, because that's the only way we can get through it. Now, you can definitely, God put people here on earth, such as therapists, doctors. There's medications that you can, that some people take because, depending on the situation, some people have went through depression, anxiety. I am one of those people who was on anxiety medication, who was on depression medication, and I had to learn how to really cope with it. I really did. Um, and like I said, we all can cope through somebody betraying us to a certain extent, right? Now, what extent would it take for you to forgive somebody if they ever betrayed you? What extent would would it take for you to forgive somebody? I just want to get some answers. You can put in the comments and let me know. We can have this discussion together. Um, how do you define betrayal? Because everybody have different definitions. How do you define betrayal, and um, what would you um, how would you handle it if you were ever betrayed? Is what I want to know. And I'm just asking people, to put in the chat. I know for me, it was broken trust, anger, sadness, feeling lost. So a lot of all of those things definitely played a part um, in my emotions. It completely played a part in my emotions, and I like to be raw and uncut when I'm talking about topics, because some topics just need to be talked about. And I know some people don't do it intentionally. They don't do it intentionally, and but they don't know how to come to the person that they betrayed to ask them for forgiveness, because they're afraid that they will never talk to them again. They're afraid of the outcome. Um, and I know, like I said, it can be a catch to 2020, right? Or 22. A catch 22 is what they say. When it comes to something like that. Um, to process it, you have to one of the things that I wrote down is you have to admit the hurt instead of suppressing it. So we have to always admit the hurt instead of suppressing it, because suppressing it would just make things worse, and you would find yourself spiraling into depression to where it's hard for you to get yourself out of, right? Another one is not excusing the betrayal, but freeing yourself. So these are things that I've wrote down. So you want to free yourself so that you can be able to have a peaceful life mentally, emotionally, physically. Because when you suppress these feelings and these thoughts, it can definitely play a part in your mental, physical, and emotional health, right? So I would say, that's another one. Another one is how prayer, scripture, and God helped. So And I was just saying that before, like, I'm always going to God for everything. I'm always going to Him in prayer. I'm always asking Him to show me, you know, how to get through something, because that's the only way that I know how. I remember that I was always doing it on my own, and every time I did it on my own, there was something that did not turn out right, or something that I got myself into that it was hard to get myself out of. So now, even if it takes some time, and I know a lot of times, I know for me, for a long time, patience was my biggest hurdle to get over. And like a lot of us, we live in a day and age where stuff is at our fingertips, right? Because we have all of this technology. So stuff is at our fingertips and we want it. We want it like a microwave. We want to pop it in and get it taken out, put it in and take it out, right? But that's not how a lot of things work. So we have to be patient and we have to be diligent, knowing that God is definitely listening and moving in on our behalf. We just have to be patient and wait on Him. So um, sorry guys. So another one is reclaiming your identity and setting new standards. So one thing I had to learn was setting healthy boundaries. I did not know how to set boundaries because I was always the woman that said yes. Even as a young kid, I said yes to everything because I never wanted um, any confrontation, so I said yes about everything. So now as an adult, um, it was so hard for me to set healthy boundaries. And now that at first, I'm telling you, it does hurt at first. It really do. Because I remember at first when I started, um, I would be like, no, but then I felt so guilty inside because I was always saying yes. So when I finally said no and I stood my ground, I felt really good. And I'm like, it feels good to set healthy boundaries. I never knew what healthy boundaries really was because, like I said yes about everything. So now that I do set healthy boundaries, it feels really good. Another one is leaning on trusted people instead of isolating yourself. So, like I was saying, if you ever feel betrayed by somebody, it's good to lean on to somebody that you are close to, that you can trust, to talk about it. So, those are some things that would definitely be helpful um, in a time of need like that. Um, Journaling or affirmations to get you through, because depending on the situation, um, you want to be able to speak positive affirmations over yourself. Like I said, it took me a long time to get here, to actually love myself, to love every inch of me, my everything about me, right? It took me a long time to get here. Um, and I still, to this day, every day, I speak positive affirmations over me. Um, and I know the person that I am in Christ. So He create each and every one of us in His own image, right? So I continue to speak those positive affirmations over me every single day. And that's what we have to do. I don't care. Like, some days may be worse than others. There are some days, some people may need to speak positive affirmations every single day over your life. And then there are some times where you need to speak it every once in a while. And what I do, what I'm starting to do, what I just started doing, is putting positive affirmations on my bathroom mirror. Um, put it on my phone, on my screensaver, on my desk. Um, so every time I go somewhere, I even have it sticky notes on my refrigerator. So every time I go somewhere, throughout my house, I have these positive affirmations. Even if I'm not having a bad day, I look at them and I smile because it just continued to remind me, who I am. And It's an amazing feeling. It's definitely amazing feeling. Another thing is, and this is coming from, um, because being betrayed by somebody can definitely change you into somebody you don't even know. So now that we have gotten through that part of feeling like that, we're learning how to lean on somebody who we can trust. We're learning how to journal. We're learning how to incorporate positive affirmations. We're learning to, exercise, healthy eating, prayer time. All of these things, go into play of you um, believing and knowing who you are. Because a lot of times, I know deep down, everybody truly know who they are on the inside, but it's something that triggered you along the way to make you second guess who you are. And I don't care if it's it can come from your childhood, and a lot of times people don't realize, even being in elementary school, starting in elementary school, being bullied, you never worked through those situations, never even knew that you had that bottled down all the way on the inside of you to where you never even felt that. And it could be one thing that triggered you when you become an adult. And then all of these feelings come up, right? All of these feelings come up, and you're wondering, like, how did these feelings come up? How did I decide that I feel like this about myself? So, but you don't realize that um until something in your life triggers it, right? And that's how I remember, that's how I was. All the way, because when I was young, I was bullied. Like my hair literally, I colored it, and it's starting to grow back. But I showed you guys, it's starting to grow back. I showed you guys some pictures on my page, but it's definitely starting to grow back. But my hair was so thick. I mean, it was really, really thick. And I was always talked about when I was young, because of my complexion. My hair was really thick. I was really skinny. I mean, I was too thick skinny, right? And so never even really understood, how I began to feel like that until I went back to my childhood and realized that it started from there. And so that's why, even in the midst of, like I was saying, I'm talking about betrayal today. Even in the midst of you being betrayed by a friend, somebody in your relationship, a coworker, somebody in your family, even if you've been betrayed, right, by somebody, um, and you start having these feelings and don't know, begin to not understand the magnitude of how it can change your life. That's when, and I'm naming off the things that I wrote down. And another thing, that's when we have to start, like I was saying before, finding a therapist, finding a mentor that you can trust. Because I've been through many therapists, and now I have an amazing therapist that, um, who is absolutely amazing. Even if you have like somebody at church, or in any groups that you're in, coworker, family member, friend, whoever you can trust. Another one I want to talk about is refusing to let betrayal define your worth. And I was just talking about that. Refusing to let betrayal define your trust. You don't ever want it to define your trust, because you want to be able to trust other people. Just because one person or maybe a couple of people betrayed you, right, does not mean that you have to hold everybody in that same box, because everybody is not going to betray you. So you have to you can't hold everybody in that same box. Another one, I I have so much, you guys. Another one, like I was saying, betrayal can break you temporarily, but it doesn't define your future. So it cannot define your future. Do not allow it to define your future. Should nothing or no one define your future but God. That's it. He's the only person that can do that. So anything that somebody has done to you in the past or even recently that has betrayed you and betrayed your trust against them, don't allow it to define who you are in your future, because you have so much to live for. You really do. You have so much to live for. Um, and so we have to understand that we have to understand that yes, we are all human, but some, people do have to, you know, be accountable for what they've done. And another thing that I did write down as well, betrayal is a breaking in covenant and trust. But even in betrayal, we are reminded of God's faithfulness. Just as Jesus was betrayed yet overcame, we too can rise and heal beyond the actions of others. And we can. We definitely can. Um, but we have to, sometimes, like I said, we have to go to Him. We have to ask Him for guidance. We have to ask Him, we how can we forgive somebody? Like I said, with me, it took a long time for me to forgive my husband. um when I contracted the virus from him, it took me a long time, and I thank God that I did, because I feel so much better as a person. When I tell you, I feel healed, I feel whole. And one song that just came to mind, the Shaka Khan, Whitney Houston song, I'm Every Woman. I'm every woman. So that song just came to mind to me, right? And that's just how I feel. That is just how I feel. Because I'm just so blessed that I overcame so much. And you too, whoever's watching this video and whoever this video is for, um, you can overcome. You can definitely overcome anything that you put your mind to. And God is just so good. He's so good. My daughter gonna be coming out in a minute. He's so good. He's so amazing. Um, and that was my take on today. I really did not have much today. Normally I'm on here for like over an hour, almost 2 hours, talking about so much. Um, talking about so much. But I don't know why it was put on my heart today, because somebody may be going through this and they need to hear this. But I pray that this video definitely touches somebody, and I pray that this helps you, this allow you to grow as a person and learn, from a lot of things. And remember, don't put everybody in the same box from somebody who betrayed you before, right? Don't do that, because other people don't deserve that. And I know it's hard for you to open up, especially when it has happened to you, but just know that that's where discernment comes in, and we all have to have some type of discernment and learn how to discern with certain things. So I pray that this video helps somebody today, and yeah, I may be on tomorrow. If not tomorrow, I would definitely see you guys on Saturday. So I pray everybody have a blessed night.